Comfort feels safe until you realize what it's costing you. Most people don't notice the exact moment it happens. The quiet shift when comfortable becomes stuck. It sneaks in softly, disguised as peace, disguised as stability. One day you're striving, exploring, challenging yourself. The next you're repeating the same days with slightly different details. You tell yourself it's fine, life's calm, predictable, safe. But deep down, there's this low hum of unease, like a song you can't quite tune out. Because something inside you knows the truth. Comfort feels good, but it's slowly draining you. Alex used to call it his sweet spot. He had a steady job, a small apartment, a circle of friends who met every Friday for drinks. Life wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad either. And that, he thought, was enough. He told himself he was lucky. He wasn't struggling like others. He had no drama, no chaos, just quiet days that all looked the same. But somewhere between his morning commute and his nightly Netflix routine, a question began to whisper in the back of his mind. Is this it? He brushed it off at first. That kind of question felt ungrateful, but it kept returning, louder each time he ignored it. Every day felt strangely hollow, a blur of small tasks and bigger distractions. He wasn't unhappy. He was just numb. That's the thing about comfort. It's the most seductive trap in existence. It convinces you that you're okay, that you've made it. But comfort isn't peace. It's quiet stagnation. It's the mind's way of saying, let's stay here, where it's safe. And what feels safe for the body often feels suffocating for the soul. Alex started noticing how routine his life had become. He woke up to the same alarm, scrolled the same apps, drank the same brand of coffee, drove the same route to work. Even his conversations followed predictable patterns. His brain had turned on autopilot, and the scary part was, it felt normal. Neuroscience explains this perfectly. The brain is wired for efficiency, not fulfillment. Once it learns a pattern that minimizes risk, it clings to it. Comfort feels rewarding because it triggers the brain's safety mechanism, a release of dopamine that says you're doing well. Stay here. But the longer you stay, the smaller your world becomes. Growth requires discomfort. Challenge rewires your brain. But when you live too long in comfort, you slowly unlearn how to adapt, how to take risks, how to feel alive. One evening, Alex was scrolling through social media when he saw an old college friend, Maya, posting photos from her hiking trip in Iceland. She looked free, alive, almost glowing. He stared at the image for a long time, not because he wanted to climb mountains, but because he realized he couldn't remember the last time he'd felt anything close to that. He shut off his phone and sat in silence. The room was quiet, except for the faint hum of his refrigerator. He looked around. Everything was in place, neat, predictable, perfectly fine. But suddenly, fine felt unbearable. That night he couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about how his life had become one long chain of careful decisions, designed to avoid risk, but also, unintentionally, to avoid life. Every time he'd faced a chance to step forward, ask for the promotion, start the project, move to a new city, he'd chosen safety instead. He called it being rational. But it was fear, dressed up as logic. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of losing what little comfort he had. The next morning, as he walked into his office building, something inside him shifted. He realized that the comfort he once saw as security was actually costing him his potential. every dream he'd ever had, the book he wanted to write, the business idea he never tried, the relationships he never pursued, had been sacrificed to the god of safety. And for what? Predictability, routine, the illusion of control. He remembered something his grandfather once told him. A ship is safe in harbor, but that's not what ships are built for. Back then, he'd thought it was just a nice quote. Now it felt like a mirror held up to his life. So that week, Alex made a small decision, one that would have terrified him a year ago. He applied for a job in another city, not because it was better paying or easier, but because it scared him, because it forced him to move, to break the pattern. At first, everything inside him resisted. His brain screamed that it was a mistake. He'd lose stability, he'd be uncomfortable, and he was right. He was. The first few months were messy. The city was loud, the job demanding, the loneliness sharp. But something unexpected began to happen. He started feeling alive again. Every challenge woke him up a little more. Every fear he faced made the next one smaller. That's the paradox of life. The comfort zone feels safe, but it's where your potential goes to die. Growth feels dangerous, but it's where your true self begins.